Hi, and welcome to this week's episode hosted by Gray and Mark Law of St John's Health and Fitness and Mark Elm of Leeds Beckett University, where we take training theory and science onto the gym floor.
Hey up everybody, welcome back to episode 20 of the Yorkshire Fitness Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see we're all together in gym again today, whereas we're normally on Zoom. Elm's normally over at Leeds, we're normally at home, or we're sometimes at office. We're actually just out on his gym floor, aren't we today, boys?
It's weird on that, aren't we?
We're
not sure.
We're doing a standing episode in the gym
weird.
for a complete change. We're throwing it right out there.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a bit of a chat today about recovery, aren't we?
Yeah.
So this is quite a popular. I say this probably every episode. Say, it's quite a popular topic because we get asked quite a lot of questions. What are you looking at me like that? You can do this if you want. So loads of members, we get asked quite a lot about recovery. How much should I train? Like after training sessions, how much recovery do I need before I train again, etc. That type of thing. So it's quite hard and it's quite individual. So we said let's cover it as a podcast, put it out there for not only our members but just for anybody. If you're training 4, 5, 6 times a week, which quite a few of our members do, you kind of need to be a bit smart with your recovery, so you're not just overdoing it. You're not doing the same training.
I was going to say, no, it's not a bad one for this week for us after doing this 24-hour thing last week, wasn't it? So this week's definitely been a recovery week, hasn't it?
It has, definitely.
So
Shall we talk about it really quickly? Shall we?
I think so. Mention it, yeah.
Go on then.
So what do we say? All right. So we started off. We're going to cover the distance of. If anybody listened last week, we were going to cover distance. John O'Groats to Land's End in 24 hours. We're aiming for, which meant that would be on the treadmill, ski erg, bike, and row. Meant that we needed to average 60 kilometres an hour between us and as members. They were coming in to do slots, all raising money for hospice, for Wakefield Hospice. We managed to average 70k an hour on the 4 machines, which meant we finished in 20 hours and 17 minutes, didn't we? So
we did,
We did, me and Gray did individually, just us two, 13 hours each.
Yep.
A training in that time as members took over. Will were there, did a bit. We'll mention Will. We won't go too much into Will, but Will did a little bit. But everybody jumped in. Massive team effort. No way could we have done it without all members. And we finished in 20 hours and 17 minutes. And so this week has definitely been a recovery week because as much as we didn't feel sore, we've just been on about it to Mark then. No soreness, no joint pain. Well, Robert went with that, but just tiredness and fatigue and probably hunger. Just feel like I've been catching up on food and sleep all week.
Sounds like a normal week.
Yeah, I suppose you've got 2 young kids. That's your normal life.
Can't blame the kids for that.
So that's how it went. Yeah, it were bang on. It were a real good event. It brought all team together, didn't it?
Members were amazing. Anybody listening to this will say thanks again because
you were amazing.
We definitely said afterwards, without the members' support coming in constantly, we would not have got through that.
No, they were amazing.
Well, it just took your mind off it so much, didn't it?
Yeah, so thank you to them. So we go on to recovery then. So I suppose I've maybe just mentioned a couple of them, but Mark, we always throw it over to you, don't we? So what are the key things that people should, because there's a lot of things out there for recovery now, isn't there? There's a lot of people talk about different stuff. There's massage and they go for ice baths and you can do all these things, but what are the key things then that people want to be aiming for, the foundations of recovery?
So I suppose I want to start off with, as I always do, with a bit of a definition of terms and what we're talking about. So the term recovery, there's 2 things that probably people think about. One is rest and one is recovery.
Yeah.
And they're not the same thing, but they can be used for the same purpose. So rest is something that is completely passive. So sitting down, watching telly, having a sleep, that is rest. You're not actively trying to do something to improve your physical state. Recovery is like an active thing something that you choose to go out of your way to do. So the methods you mentioned there, things like having an ice bath or massage gun or massage or anything like that, that would be that in a recovery bracket, and going for a sleep is in the rest bracket. Now, both are okay. And both are recommended and both have their advantages, but it's kind of getting your head around. One is an active thing that I'm trying to do, one is passive thing. You need to do both realistically, but the different methods have different times and places. But the holy trinity basically of repairing or restoring yourself to what you were like beforehand, if not better, would be sleep, hydration, and food. Like you've burnt a lot of calories. So you guys burnt, was it 15,000 calories? You mentioned something like that.
Over the 20 hours, yeah, about that. Yeah, we're averaging as active calories. We're averaging 600 per hour.
Okay.
And we did 13 of them, and then obviously the 30-minute, the little rest periods that we had, we obviously just carried on burning.
So that's a huge amount of kind of calories to burn, and obviously most people that work out won't kind of burn them off. I mean, depending on how daft you take your exercise extremes, we're running for 24 hours probably up there. But so imagine that you've burned off, say, 500 calories in whatever workout you've done. So you're going to replace that. Unless you're in kind of some kind of really extreme fat loss reduction, calorie deficit goal, you're going to replace the calories you've just burnt. You're going to also have to repair the tissues that have been damaged in the process. So if you go and do a leg training session, those leg muscles that get damaged, you need to repair those. So it's a bit like having bricks and mortar. So carbs would be the mortar to bind all the bricks together, and your protein is the brick. So you need to have carbs and protein in your recovery to at least replace the carbs and fuel that you've lost and to fuel the repair process.
Yeah.
It doesn't just happen by accident. You need to use some calories to repair the process. So you do need more calories just than you use in the training session to repair from. But again, I'm not saying that we have to double up that because you're not trying to gain weight. But that's why bodybuilders see them having huge amounts of calories, because it takes a lot of energy to build a muscle, not just to kind of fuel the exercise. So you need to have protein and carbs to kind of fuel that recovery process. You need to have sleep. If you're not sure about why sleep, please go back and listen to our sleep episode. It's fantastic. I had a graph and everything back into that. And sleep is kind of where the magic happens. So that repair process happens in deep sleep. You need good quality sleep, and then hydration is as it says, basically water to recover. So once you've done those three, so two of those things are active. The recovery will be the fluid and the fuel, and then the rest would be passive. And then we're into other things. Now, some things work really, really well, and some things less well, and there's a bit of a power placebo with it. So if you think it works, that's great. It might not actually physically do anything, but like if you don't know it doesn't work and you believe it does, then crack on. So we're into things like massage, foam rolling, ice baths, sauna, steam rooms. There's lots of really good evidence for some of those and some sketchy evidence for other ones of those. But it depends on what works for you and what you've got time for and how you're trying to recover. So in the recovery space, there's two things I try to think about: is the speed of recovery and the quality of recovery. There's a bit of a topic in our household this weekend as well. Taylor, as you've seen, is all over running at the minute. She's trying to run all the time. So she's found ice baths.
Right.
Or cold bath. You don't have to put ice in. It's a misnomer. You don't have to. As long as the bath is cold, it will work. Ice baths are great for a couple of things. One is they reduce pain. So if you are extreme DOMS, like your legs are absolutely screaming, you've done a hard session and your legs are in pain from DOMS, the ice bath will help with the pain. So it's about like, if you burn your hand, you put it in cold water. The cold is analgesic, relieves the pain, and it reduces compression and isolation and swelling. So you won't swell as much. But that swelling is part of the natural healing process. So if I want to recover quickly, an ice bath is really going to be helpful. So if you know that if you are, back in your playing days, if you had to double up in a week, Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday, you need to recover quickly so you can get over Sunday into to be able to train to play Wednesday. So that point, recover quickly is really, really important. So ice baths are a really great strategy. You see the cricket, fast bowlers are bowling day in, day out, they'll be in the ice bath as soon as they come off the pitch because they need to be able to do the same again the next day. But if you don't have to be on it quickly, you can take your time. That isn't maybe the greatest strategy because it's going to reduce the quality of your recovery, but it will improve the speed of recovery.
I'm going to say, and there's something in that as well, that it, like your adaptation, it can risk, you know what I mean? The quicker you try and do that, you sort of cut it out so you don't get the natural adaptation, your growth or whatever you want to achieve.
Exactly right, yeah. So if I was let's say I'm trying to lose weight and I wanted to train every single day, and it didn't matter how fit I got, it just mattered that I could do something every day so I could lose the fat that I was trying to get.
You're burning the calories if you want to do that.
So that might be a speed process, might be something I'm interested in because it means I can do something every day and I can maintain that calorie deficit through exercise. If, however, I was trying to run or lift or whatever it was I tried to do from a performance point of view, and I didn't have to train on a daily basis, I could take my time. You want to do something else which is more natural. So I'm going to let the body do its natural process and help it along the way. So these compression gamps came along. So what happens when you damage a muscle, it kind of swells and bleeds. And that's the blood getting into the tissue to kind of wash away the damaged proteins and repair the new ones. So it's an entirely natural process. So by icing it and cold baths, we're kind of preventing the blood flow. That's what it does. It shrinks the blood flow to those areas. So we'll get up quickly, but not well. Compression gamps came along so we could maintain the positive blood flow, but we didn't get the swelling that come with it. Right, so compression gamuts can be in there. So people, again, I'm talking about proper ones, like pros, where you 20 quid from the outlet shop. Yeah, they're just kind of like base layers. It's like you go into your skins, you're paying 80, 90, 100 quid for the good ones where they properly compress.
They are proper compressions. There's a different, like I said, there's a difference between the base layers and the actual compression.
So they compress, they don't allow the swelling to happen, but they do get the blood flow going. Things like foam rollers, like they're all over the place now. Home bargains, you get for a fiver, and they're into kind of releasing trigger points and kind of blockages in the muscle tissue to allow you to move more smoothly. I'm all over mine. I kind of, if I sit for more than a day in a meeting, I'm like, I need to be on the foam roller for 24 hours just so I can move again. That's the next, so stretching. The good old fashioned stretch, not pre-stretch. We don't stretch before exercise, but afterwards, just kind of releasing that muscle tension, get the muscle to kind of realign again. So muscle tissue should like flow over each other. So if it gets tangled through exercise, that repair process, it doesn't work as well. So we need to have some kind of mechanical movement or foam roller and stretching, and the theraguns kind of fall into that kind of category as well, and sports massage. So they're all things about promoting how well the muscle recovers in back to natural alignment.
Got a good example of sports massage actually. On about 7 o'clock in the morning, Lauren came in, scholarship physio. She give us a massage. By that time, my legs, they were heavy. I wouldn't say I were in agony. I hadn't started with DOMs, obviously, from all aerobic, but heavy legs, let's say, really heavy. She got into them, she started massaging, and there was I couldn't believe it. I was nearly crying. I couldn't believe I saw the one. We were only thumbs to start with. Jesus Christ. But after about 10 minutes, I was pain-free and I got off and I felt brilliant. It was the first time I can ever say with the sports massage, like the timing of it. What amazing. I went on them, my legs felt great for the rest of the day after a massage. And that were about 13 hours in.
And knowing somebody knows what they are. So there is a difference between pre-event and post-event. So you need to know somebody knows the difference between the two. We're also going to, so saunas and steam rooms. Again, then that I go into rest, but it's I'm actively going in there to have that rest. So a little bit of both. And they can be quite good as well. What else any other things that kind of that people think about? There's all sorts of.
I don't know. I think your massage and stuff like that. I think that's your key one, I suppose. Supplements.
I was going to say, people ask about supplements, don't they? Quite a bit. They probably ask. People worry about that when you're saying the active ones. People probably worry about what supplements can they take. You know, like what things can they do maybe before they think, right, I've just got to get all the basics right here. I've got to get my sleep, I've got to get my hydration right, I've got to get my food right, I've got to be eating good food. And then if you still feel like then you can look at other things, can't you?
So
that's good advice for
you got to that pyramid again, don't you? We go, you know, like there's a pyramid for everything that we want to do, really, don't you? You get that base right, and then you can add, can't you? But if that's no good, then if you're not getting your sleep and you're not getting your nutrition, you're not getting your hydration, you can have your Theragun or your whatever you're going to do, and you're not going to recover, are you? You've got to get them first, and then, like you say, it's deciding what you want out of that. What sort of recovery do you want, and why? You know, like why do you need to feel great following day? Why do you need to be on it every day?
If you're an athlete, it's different because you need to recover to perform.
If you're competing, but in pre-season, but different sides of it,
you don't want that to lose weight, to burn them calories, and kind of if you're working on that side of things, you just need to recover as quick as possible. So, like say, your ice baths and stuff, so they can go again is a good thing, isn't it? If you're just trying to recover constantly between sessions, and they're not worried about performing at an elite level, They just want to make sure they can come to the gym and feel all right to train.
But it's about as well thinking about, say you get a new client comes in for the very first time, like there's not much you can do that's not going to cause them soreness.
No.
Like,
No.
I can have a cup of tea, that's pretty much it. So like 48 hours, they're going to get DOMS, so delayed onset of muscle soreness. So it's about kind of forewarning you going, right, during your first session, I'm going to warn you now, if you did it on Friday, Sunday's a world of hurt. It's coming, nothing I can do about it. You'll get through it. But if you had more sleep, more hydration, more protein, you won't get it as bad. If you can be active recovery, it's another good I forgot to mention. So active recovery is things like low impact, so that's not hitting the ground hard. So like walking, cycling, skiing, that kind of stuff. Gentle exercise, swimming. I forgot another, that's a good one.
Rowing.
Right. I forgot the other one about recovery methods would be deep water immersion. So people, if you went into like the deep end of a pool and if you went to the bottom, like vertically, the water pressure will act as like a massage effect. So it pushed the blood back through the body.
Right, okay.
That's an
About
interesting
water pressure, yeah.
So do you have to bounce up and down at the bottom of the pool?
So I've had players,
idea?
when I was at York, we had those short turnarounds around Easter. I mean, you play the Easter weekends, they're horrific, aren't they? Especially as a part-time player. Awful.
Friday, Monday.
Yeah. I forget the name of the pool now in York. Basically, like torpedo bomb down at the bottom of a pool. Like stay down there as long as you can, because that water pressure, basically, imagine that you've got the blood pooled in your calves, it'll press because of the pressure of the water is going to push into the muscle and return it back. So we did quite a bit of that. Yes, it's like water take the impact off your body. That's a really good strategy as well. But if you're laying flat, you're not going to get that because there's no water pressure on you if you're laying flat in the water.
Yeah.
You have to be at the bottom.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you see a lot of people dive bombing in lightweight, not lightweight, isn't it? Like Sun Lane or where it is in Wakefield, you'd be like, oh, they listen to our podcast, they keep kind of chatting.
Just bobbing up and down.
Yeah.
Nobody's swimming anymore.
No, bobbing up and down from the deep end. So yeah, you get somebody who's going to get DOMS on the Monday or the Sunday after their first session. So if you can tip them up to go like, this is going to come, if you do these things, it'll make it a little bit less painful.
Yeah.
But there's nothing you can do about that one. It's also kind of making people aware of what recovery is and it isn't. Like if you're DOMS, you did some damage on Friday, which we knew about, we're doing it now, and this is how it's going to feel, but it gets less and you can train through that.
Yeah, it's not an injury. We've said that before, haven't we? And when you're going on to that, we didn't mention it straight away, but I always think a bit of active recovery is best for me. You know, like obviously you sleep and everything, but I think a bit of gentle stuff, even though it's agony sometimes, your leg, you know, we still get it, don't we? Sometimes you change your training up a little bit. You do your Bulgarians, you go heavy on them, you haven't done them for a bit and you're in pieces. But if you stay still and don't move them, it feels worse, doesn't it? But it's surprising that you get through it and you push through it and you work and you don't have to be crazy, but just they do feel better at the end of it, don't they? They always feel better. A bit of a gentle jog, like you say, a bit on bike, rower, out like that. Just, you know, like I always think that a walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, morning dog walk.
The best advice can be, this is the SSC coach me coming out now, when I would think about this is planning. Yeah. The best recovery is through planning. So we know that on a rugby schedule that we know Sunday's game day. So we do kind of work +3, -3. So like +3 is like, well, Monday's a write-off. So like I'll be telling the players, right, you need to go and do something on Monday, which is not tiring, not stressful, not fatiguing, but it's going to promote your recovery. So getting some good quality sleep, get your hydration, get your protein in, go for a walk. Tuesday will be
Mark. All right, Mark.
Tuesday will be our lighter day. Thursday will be a heavier day. And then Friday we'd download again because we played on the Sunday. So we would plan our week around what was important, the kind of hard session of the week, the most important part of the week. Now, in your fitness clients, what I think they try and do, and this is where a lot of them will fall down on in terms of recovery and getting tired, is every session's hard. Like they might come to a session with you, they might go a session on their own, they might go for a run. It's like, right, everything has to be 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. As long as I'm tired and sweaty and I'm out of breath and I'm exhausted, that's it. Whereas an SSC coach, we're going, no, stop, please stop now. Right, this is where you invest most of your time. We're going to go hard Tuesday and Thursday, Wednesday off. I want to rest on the Wednesday so that we can do more on a Thursday. And especially new people who are really enthusiastic, which is fantastic to see. Like the thought of having a day off, a recovery day or a rest day, which is about active recovery. You said to your clients, right, you smashed it tonight, great. Tomorrow, let's go for a walk. You look at them going, you're not going for a walk, are you? You're going to be on the rower, you're doing intervals, aren't you? Yeah, I am. And that's the bit.
Although I don't know with some of ours. Sorry.
Probably two polar extremes.
Some definitely do.
Yeah. Some definitely do. Some definitely
Some
go. Please go for a walk.
I have.
Nothing
They'll know. I won't even name names, but they'll know. I have purposely don't like make them train a bit lower intensity some sessions because they're getting that many in.
Yeah. Got it, haven't they?
For one.
Yeah. Ian Smith.
Yeah. You're listening, Ian.
He's in soon.
So that's been kind of best advice is plan. So you're not having to use all those kind of gadgets and recovery methods. If you get your planning right, you don't need them as much.
Yeah.
But if you kind of plan to do as hard as you can every single day, you kind of live off them because it's something that gets you through the session.
Yeah.
And if you're getting through sessions, the only thing I know is going to be always an injury, which we've done a podcast about.
Yeah.
So we
Which is not a problem. They can still turn around it.
Of course we can. Yeah. No.
They bet if you didn't.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think that's pretty much nailed it.
Sleep. Listen to a previous podcast.
Yeah.
Nutrition. Eat protein.
Podcast.
Previous podcast. Hydration. We need to do a podcast on hydration.
There we go.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
There we go. That's his third one.
There's his next
That's
one.
a bit short, isn't it? Drink more water.
Yeah, that would be a short.
It's a bite size.
You can tag that onto something else.
Yeah, we could do a 2-minute version.
But right. So if you've listened, I hope that has helped in some way. I think that it is quite a big thing, innit? Because like you said it in here not long ago. One we must have been a strength. Must have been a strength podcast, something like that. And it's like you were saying, it don't matter how good you train or how often you train, whatever. But if you don't recover, it's all about the recovery is where you make your improvements, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not kind of lifting, because if you're not getting the recovery, it doesn't matter what you're doing at the gym floor, you won't be improving.
And I think if you're going for a fitness goal, that's a really important message. I think the fitness goal clients will kind of go, yeah, I get that. I think the problem will be the fat loss clients, because it's about the calorie deficit, about burning calories.
Yeah.
And I would say to those kind of clients going, right, if you want to burn more calories through exercise, if you don't recover fully, it's going to limit what you can burn in the next session.
Yeah.
So if you're so tired, you are so beat up, you can't do anything more than go for a walk, then you're going to beat yourself up that you've only gone for a walk or you wanted to do like a HIIT session or something else like that. Then there's a bit of a negative spiral that will kick in. So if you can get you on top of your recovery, it allows you to burn more calories through exercise more consistently. But plan it. Like plan your high calorie days and high calorie burn days and your lower calorie intake and your lower calorie burn days. So you don't get yourself beat up in the space of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Very good.
I
Good
agree.
advice, mate.
Yeah,
Good advice
definitely.
from S&C side of things there, because it's very similar, isn't it?
We do try and use that sort of principle, especially if people come to PT and then they do, we try and work it out with people, but it's not always easy because some people can't switch off from it, like Ian. Listen.
Well, I used to have it in rugby. You go, right, we think we've controlled everything about their life, and then they have a hard day at work. So then, right, I'm going to knock off your training tonight. You're going to adapt your training because you've had a hard day at work. And they see him on Strava, like bicycling, like 800 kilometers. For fuck's sake. Like, what was the point?
Of you deloading.
Yeah. So it happens at all walks of life. It's not just the PT space.
No, it does. It does. Right. All right. Right. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for listening, and we will we'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked the episode, we'd like you to share with us that on YouTube, Instagram and Twitter. You can listen again on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Please leave us a rating and a review, and any comments would be more than appreciated. And hopefully you'll tune back next time for our next episode.
The Yorkshire Fitness Podcast.